Is holistic therapy possible in a brief modality format, a humanist and a social justice perspective? Hi, I am Dulce, and I am very excited to share this topic with you. Before we start, I acknowledge and thank that we are living, learning, and playing on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Have you ever thought about what holistic means in the context of psychotherapy? What's holistic psychotherapy for you? Is brief holistic therapy possible? What do you think? Here's what I will cover today. First, I'll explore what holistic therapy is. Then I'll look at the definition and elements of my working concept. Next, I'll address core commonalities among brief therapeutic modalities, review means and rational concept, and answer whether holistic brief therapy is feasible. Finally, I'll consider why this topic is important. Holistic therapy can be defined in many ways. For example, some definitions consider experiences in a continuous spectrum without clear distinctions between positive and negative experiences. Others integrate practices like breathing techniques into therapy sessions. The common thread among all the definitions is that holistic therapy aims to be more inclusive, considering aspects of the human experience that traditional science might overlook. And the differences reside in what aspects each author considers in their holistic definition. Because there isn't just one definition, I developed my own working concept that can be summarized as support individuals in their process of knowing themselves. The core elements of my working concept are the figure 1, the horizontal line, represents that humans have a continuum spectrum of conscious and unconscious awareness and experiences. And the figure number 2 holds the idea that human beings are made by mind, body, and something else that can be called spirit, energy, God, or whatever resonates with you. Two fundamental beliefs guide my working concept. The first one is that healing is an inherent power within all individuals. And the second one refers to the process of healing, and healing respects and restores the body's natural rhythms. Because the question is whether holistic therapy is possible in a brief format, we must review some basics of brief therapy. So brief therapy gained popularity in the 80s in the United States due to the sociopolitical climate, the growing demand for mental health services, the shortage of psychotherapeutic services, and the limit insurers set on contributing to mental health costs. These conditions led to a focus on both efficiency and effectiveness of treatments, resulting in more compact therapeutic modalities. While there are many types of brief therapies, they share three core commonalities: focus on results, intensification of the successful ingredients of each therapeutic modality, and the acceleration of the process of change. But what implications do these characteristics of brief therapy have for patients? To answer this question, I want to share a key concept from my capstone: means and rationale, which comes from economics and helps me to connect holistic and brief therapy to social justice. This clarification is important because one of my intentions with this presentation is to invite and motivate new counselors to analyze psychotherapy from different fields like economics, philosophy, anthropology, sociology. Doing this allows us to expand our critical thinking and see reality through different lenses. So means and rationale can be summarized by the saying, the ends justify the means. Let me explain this. The economist Hinke Lamert argued that means and rationality should always be subordinated to rationality that promotes life to avoid the rational of the irrational. He questions how we know if our rationality is truly rational, if efficiency is genuinely efficient. When the end becomes more important than the means, we risk making the irrational rational. Quinquelamert explained this with the following example. Even if it warms and protects from rain, a coat should not be produced if its production is not competitive. When the end is unchangeable, what is adjusted is the means. In the previous example, competitiveness is the end, and the means is a product, a coat. But what does brief therapy look like when seen from this logic? If what we pursue is the end, this is the result, the means to achieve it is a human being, including his bodily, mental, and spiritual needs and rhythms. Brief therapy focusing on efficiency and effectiveness tends to compact human processes, overlook body rhythms, and diminish the human being's complexity. Because no matter how much we desire something, we live in a body with its own rhythms and processes that cannot be accelerated. So, answering the question, from my perspective, holistic therapy is impossible in a brief format because they have fundamental differences. While brief therapy focuses on results, holistic therapy focuses on the process. You might ask, on the process of what? The process of working towards the patient's objective that can take different forms along the therapeutic journey of knowing themselves. Holistic therapy respects body and psyche rhythms. In contrast, brief therapy attempts to accelerate the process of change. Holistic therapy follows life rationality, while brief therapy follows means and rational. Finally, holistic therapy supports a healing process, while brief therapy looks to solve specific problems. So, why this topic is important? Through language and dominant narratives, capitalism has shaped our social constructions around productivity and competition. Social constructions shape language, and language shapes reality. For example, borders between countries are social constructions, and concepts like visa and passport only make sense within this context. Similarly, the social construction of capitalism has created the words productivity and competition that have provided patterns of observation, perception, and relation. The narrative of these concepts has been extrapolated into intrapersonal relationships. In order to achieve efficiency, free market environment constantly invites productivity and competition with others, but also with oneself, which has desensitized and disconnected people from themselves. This leads to self-exploitation that ends up in mental, physical, and emotional breakdowns, meaning burnouts. Therefore, burnout is not a crisis of work, but a crisis of performance, of productivity and competition with oneself. Capitalism values productivity as brief therapies value efficiency and effectiveness, showing a means and rational. In therapy, productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness translate to accelerating and shortening human process, negatively affecting human needs and rights. Many years ago, one day someone told me, real human needs are human rights. In the context of social justice, this sounds obvious. Still, when it comes to psychotherapy, I'm afraid we easily fall into means and rational by stressing efficiency and effectiveness over human needs. In other words, over human rights. But what do you think? Thanks for attending.